Hi guys, Coach Ed Haynes here to talk about the competitors program. Back to an intensification phase. I talked about the difference between accumulation and intensification in our last video. Basically, we're just getting a little bit more sport specific. So what that means is that obviously the Open's coming up around the corner. So that means maintenance of our strength qualities and an increase in the amount of, I guess, craziness and variance in our conditioning pieces. Kind of what we've got to expect coming up into the Open. We basically have 3 phases left. That means we have 12 weeks. Until the CrossFit Open starts. The format now running in is going to be, we're going to train really hard for 3 weeks, and then we're going to deload you for 1 week. And that's going to happen over 3 different cycles. Reason for that deload? Well, firstly, a deload means an overall reduction in volume in that week, but maintenance or maybe even an increase in intensity. Reason being, it's a chance for us to freshen up a little bit, let our tissues and joints recover, let the mental stress of the Open and pushing hard come down a little bit, and make sure that we can actually allow adaptation to occur from that last block. If you just continually pound yourself into the ground, you never actually give your body a window to adapt to the stimulus. How our week is going to be structured. Mondays, the biggest change you're going to see is we're going to work on some clean absolute strength speed development, back squat absolute strength maintenance, and then we're going to do some clean CP battery in fatigue setting. What this basically means is, firstly, we're going to prioritize cleaning instead of snatching. We've been snatching on Mondays for the last 24 weeks or so. So making clean a priority now. Back squatting, absolute strength maintenance. We've done a ton of work trying to bring up your 1 rep maxes. Now we're going to try and hold on to those numbers. For a lot of us, we're still going to continue to get stronger. Clean CP battery work. CP refers to the creatine phosphate system. That's the energy source or the energy system used when we're doing things like heavy back squats, heavy cleans, heavy snatches. CP battery means it's important that we're able to recharge that energy system over and over again so we can continually hit heavy lifts. It's just a requirement of the sport, so we're going to make sure we really focus in on that. Tuesdays, shoulder to overhead cycling. That's going to be varied. Upper body absolute strength maintenance, and then kipping gymnastic capacity. So shoulder to overhead cycling, you're going to see a variation in push pressing, touch and go shoulder push jerks, touch and go split jerks. It's really important that we're getting efficient with that skill as well as lifting heavy loads. Upper body absolute strength maintenance, things like strict handstand push-ups, deficit strict handstand push-ups, and some heavy upper body pulling. Making sure that we maintain some of that strict pulling and pushing strength, because a lot of our time is going to be spent doing kind of gymnastics and kind of like high velocity movements. Kipping gymnastic capacity, things like your kipping toes to bar, muscle ups, chest to bars, handstand push-ups, just building up the ability to do a lot of that kind of work without fatigue. Wednesdays, snatch absolute speed strength, snatching accessory work, then squat knee flexion density in fatigue setting. So what we're talking about is we continue to drive up our 1 rep max in the snatch and the different variations of it, whether it's a hang, it's a power, it's a full snatch. The accessory work, we all need it. Things like snatch balancing, we should be snatch balancing at least 100% of your heavier snatch for reps. A lot of us are still off on that number. All these accessory exercises are just going to help you build confidence with the snatch, as well as hopefully some kind of muscle memory and awareness for the snatch. Squatting knee flexion density and fatigue setting, extensive basically refers to the loads that we're going to use. So if you remember this week on Wednesday, we had a nasty squatting piece involving overhead squats, thrusters, and back squats. The load was relatively light compared to our 1 rep maxes. That is what we mean by extensive. Extensive in a conditioning setting means we're using loads that are roughly less than 50 to 60% of your 1 rep maxes. Intensive would be the opposite. So if we're doing an intensive squat and knee flexion conditioning piece, that means we're using loads over 60%. So for example, on Mondays, the heavy clean work in the conditioning setting you're going to do is intensive. Your Wednesdays are going to be extensive. It's important that we build squatting volume in both those ways. Thursday, as you've been seeing on Wodify, we're posting a movement mobility protocol for you guys to follow. I know a lot of you have been doing it. I know some of you haven't. It's really important on that rest day that you are doing some remedial work and really getting yourselves into a parasympathetic state, which is basically just chilling out, whilst also looking after your business. So making sure you're restoring joint range of motion, tissues are staying healthy, and all that kind of stuff. Fridays, you're going to be doing some clean and jerk work. That's going to be varied in a different complex. Sometimes on an EMON setting, sometimes it'll be heavier, sometimes it'll be every 2 minutes or every 90 seconds work. Just getting you guys comfortable through those movements. And then your MAP work is going to be a combination of some barbell movements, some gymnastics movements, and some cyclical pieces. Basically like your CrossFit style workouts. We've been doing this a lot on Fridays. That's going to be your biggest day to do it. Saturdays, we're going to be focusing in the group classes on long aerobic work with a cyclical focus, so kind of like single modality, rowing, assault biking, double undering, non-eccentric movements like box jumps, lunges, all that kind of stuff. With that said, there's also going to be a competitors training at 11 or 12 o'clock. It will kind of change each week. But that is open to all competitors, everyone who's following the competitors group. Typically, those sessions are going to be a combination of some Olympic lifting, weightlifting, with Cheryl guiding us, into some hard conditioning work. Getting all the competitors together as a group and just basically pushing each other to go hard. Something that will be starting up in the new year on a Saturday is Coach Stephen Hightower and Shingo Maramasa are going to be starting up some movement and gymnastics classes. Those classes are really targeted towards our performance competitors. I think it's really, really vital that you all do this. I think gymnastics is an area that we all tend to struggle with, unless you're getting one-on-one help already from a personal trainer. There'll be more information out in the new year. Some additional reminders: tissue work and massage. I think it's vital for anyone in this sport, or pretty much any sport in general, to be getting looked after at least once a week. I would always advise the sports tissue practitioner versus a general masseuse, just because they know what they're talking about. But make sure you're getting that done at least once a week. Listen to your body, rest when needed. I mean, I know we have a program here, and because we're in a competitors program, sometimes we feel a need to make sure we commit to all 5 days. With that said, if your body's feeling beat up, sleep's compromised, you're dealing with more stress outside the gym, be sensible, don't train that day, because it will mean you'll come in that next day and have a much, much better session. Remember, it takes a long, long time for you to lose any strength or conditioning adaptations, up to kind of 2 to 3 weeks, so don't worry about that. And don't be afraid to seek additional advice and expertise. Us as a coaching team, we're always here to help you. We have some real specialists emerging amongst us now, so if you have gymnastics requirements, movement requirements, snatch, clean and jerk requirements, just come and speak to one of the coaches and we'll push you in the right direction. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and have a great Christmas.